Second essential element of the state is territory. Like the people or population, the state requires the definite territory. Every state should require definite territory. That means each and every state should require definite territory, which requires definite borders, which contains the definite border. If India as example, if you take India as example, the north side we have the Himalayas, southern side we have Indian Ocean, eastern side we have Bay of Bengal, western side Arabian Sea. There are fixed territory, definite territory. That means for the state, each and every state should require definite territory. Okay, which contains different forms. That means land forms and also water forms. Understood? The country which contains land forms, water forms, and also what about, you know that, above the sea, that means above the sea, above the land, what is there? That was the open land. Sky, in our generally we called sky. Space. This is also included in the territory. That means the territory which contains land forms such as mountains, rivers, forests, they undercomes land forms and water forms. You know that waters are inland waters and outside waters. Inland waters automatically included in the country and outside water also included in the country. That was also considered as part of the country. For example, if you take India, inland there are so many rivers from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. They automatically included in the Indian territory. Whereas outside of the India, we have Arabian Sea and also Indian Ocean, Bay of Bengal. Eastern side Bay of Bengal, southern side Indian Ocean, and also western side Arabian Sea. In that, up to 12 nautical miles, the India has the power. That means water forms, inside water, inland water, and outside the water up to 12 nautical miles in the sea water. We have the sovereign power. So this is also included in the territory. Land forms are automatically included. Geographic territory means what? Geographical space, geographical area, which includes land forms and also water forms. Up to 12 nautical miles, we have the power, sovereign power. Apart from that, we have the space lying the land, that is also considered under the territory. So that's under comes territory. Territory means land forms, water forms, and also open space. That means space. That is also included in the territory. They togetherly considered as territory. Here, the territory size in ancient time, they are very small in nature. They also considered as the state at ancient Greek period. Whereas in modern time, if you observe Russia, very huge area in the world, and also India, Canada, America, USA, Australia, they are the very huge area countries. Area wise, they are very prominent, very huge countries in the world. They are also considered as the state. Besides the huge area countries, small countries like Nauru, Monaco, Vatican City, their size is very less. Their physical size is very less. So they are also considered as the state. Here, what is the point? Ancient time, all the states are very small in size. That's why there is no problem at all. Like people, there is no fixed limitation. There is no limitation. Territory wise, there is no limitation, whether they are small or whether they are large. Both are considered as the state. Understood? That's why in modern time, some are the huge area countries, large countries, some are very small countries. They both are considered as the state. Here, for example, the people, the state having the people, right? They should settle definite territory. The people who are settled in definite territory, that is only state. The people are there, they are roaming around the world. They did not settle in geographical area. They are nomadic tribes. The tribes who are not settled in single definite territory. How they are considered as a state? Not at all. Because the people should settle in definite territory. Then only they are considered as a state. For example, before 1948, the Jews, they are, that Israel, the Israel people are called as Jews. They formulated Israel in the year 1948. Before the 1948, the Jews roam around the world. What is the point here? If the people are not settled in single definite territory, they are not considered as state. If they settled in definite territory, then only they considered as state, like Israel. Before the 1948, there is no Israel. In the year 1948, they settled in definite territory. That's why it is considered as a state. Israel is considered as a state. So, nomadic tribes are not considered as a state. Nomadic tribes are the tribes who are travel around the globe. They did not settle anywhere. That is the problem actually. That's why the state required definite territory. Here the territory size is very huge, very small. What type of territory is required? Territory is required or quality territory is required. Like the population, here the quantity is not important. What is the important? Quality is the important. The land which is fertile, the land which is rich in soil, the land which is rich in resources, that type of land is very essential for the development of state. So that's why the size of the state, the size of the location is not important. What is important? The quality of the land is important. The quality of the land is important here. So that's why if you observe, if the country which is located in the fixed area, for example, somewhere, if you take Britain, if you observe the globe, if you observe the world map, the the Britain, England country location is very peculiar. That's why any country unable to attack on England, England attack on more countries. That means here, the country which is in good location or best location, that is also very important. The country which is rich soil, the country which is rich fertile soil, the country which is rich resources, natural resources, that is more important for the development of the country. Understood? That's why if you take any example, if we have one acre which is very fertile land, we can cultivate more and more crops. That is useful. For example, another side, we have 10 acres of land. We are unable to cultivate the land. Is it useful? There is no useful at all, because the size of the land is not important here. The quality of the land is important for the development of the state. So, this is the second essential element of the state. I thought it's very clear. So, government is the third essential element of the state. You know that government is considered as the heart and soul of the state. It's very essential for the state, because without the government, the state cannot do anything, because the state can express his will and wish through the government organ, government element. That means it is the one platform to express the state opinion, will and wish. So that's why without this, the state cannot do anything. So because the state is invisible, whereas the government is visible thing. On behalf of the state, the government can do all those things. The wishes, the objectives of the state fulfilled by whom? Government only. That's why government is considered as the heart and soul of the state. It's very essential. So for example, people are there, territory also there, but they are not organized under one common government. People are there, they are not nomadic tribes, they settled in a single place, but they are not organized under single government. Then how the people became united? It's impossible. That's why for making unity and integrity among the people, the government is essential. So that's why for promoting the state objectives, government is very essential. That's why it is considered the heart and soul of the state. Understood? So here government consists three organs. How many organs are there? There are three organs of government. What are they? Legislative organ, executive organ, judicial organ. Legislature. Second one, executive. Third one, judiciary. Legislature, executive, judiciary. They are organs of government. Government having three organs: legislative organ, executive organ, judiciary. Legislative organ is lawmaker. Lawmaker. It was the lawmaker. It was the formulated law. Legislative body formulates law. That's why it was the law-making body. Okay? It legislates law. And whereas the executive, the laws which are already made by the legislature implemented by whom? Executive. Law executor or law implementator. Executive body is the law implementator body. That means it executes the law. It executes the law which already prepared by the legislative body. The laws are prepared by the legislature which are implemented by whom? Executive. Okay. If any problem arises, who will interpret? Judiciary will interpret. That's why it was the law interpreter. Law interpreter. Judiciary is the law interpreter body. Law adjudication are nothing but law adjudication. The law adjudication function done by whom? Judiciary only. That means the state required the government as the third essential element. Without this, the state cannot do anything, because through this government only the state can express its will and wish, its objectives. So here the government can function through the different three organizations, three organs, such as legislative body, executive body, judicial body or judiciary. Here legislative body made laws, it is the law making body, and executive that implemented, and judiciary that adjudicated, that means law interpret. Okay, so clear, they are the three organs of the government. So if you observe the organs of the government, they are the same in any of the country, any nature of the country, whether they are parliamentary form of government, presidential form of government, whether they are unitary government, federal government, the same three organs are existed. That's why here, if you observe the different types of government, it's based on the nature of the government. There are different formulations, different types. If you know very well, the parliamentary form of government, very prominent one, parliamentary form of government. presidential form of government, presidential form of government, at the same time unitary government, federal government, federal government. There are so many: monarchy government, aristocracy government, oligarchy government. There are different governments based on the philosophers, political philosophers. They classified governments in different manner. We will discuss in further classes. They four are very prominent classification of the government, modern form of government. So here, parliamentary form of government. The government which is formulated by the parliament is called as parliamentary form of government. For example, Britain, India, we adopted parliamentary form of government both national level as state level. Presidential form of government. The government which is formulated by presidents, not by the parliament. The government which is formulated by president himself. There is no relation between the legislature and executive here. The executive is separate from the legislature in presidential form of government. Best example, America. You know that American president is responsible to form the government. Whoever the interested, they may included in the government. The president interest is very essential. There is no any qualifications for the member of the government in America. If you, for example, Joe Biden interested on me, I am also included in American government. Understand? So that's whereas in parliamentary form of government, if I want to member in the government, I should member in the Parliament of India. That's why there is a limitation in parliamentary form of government. The member of parliament, the member of government should be a member of parliament. Whereas in presidential form of government, there is no such a condition. The president himself formulated the government. That's why that is presidential form of government. Unitary government. Unitary government means the government which is one can rule throughout the country. So, for example, only one central government existed. There is no state governments. That country is called as unitary form of government. That country is unitary country. Whereas in federal form of government, the federal form of government is nothing but the government which is having two levels or more levels of the governments. Three or more levels of government. For example, union level, state level, local level. So that is federal form of government. That means powers are divided among the governments in federal form. Whereas powers are centralized. Powers are centralized at unitary form of government. Clear? So that's why the best example of unitary form of government is Britain. In the Britain, the state governments are not enjoyed such a independent powers. They depended on union government. Whereas in America, whereas in India, the state government also enjoyed some independent powers. That's why we adopted federal form of government. America is also considered as a federal government. The best example of federal form of government is America. The best example of unitary form of government is Britain. The best example of presidential form of government is America. The best example of parliamentary form of government is Parliament. What about England, India? So here also government is a very essential element of the state. The governments which are very excited to develop the country, that is very essential to the state. If the governments are not responsible to the people, they are not interested to the development of the state, development of the people, they are unable to safeguard the people and their property and their lives, that type of government is not essential for the state. If that government is existed or not, nothing will happen. If the government is having capable to develop the state, having capable to safeguard from external aggression or internal disturbances, that government is very powerful, very strong government. That is very essential for the development of the state. Okay, whatever the type of government here, the government which is capable, the government which is having safeguarding, which is safeguarding people's property, people's life, That type of government is essential for the development of state. Clear? Finally, the very important and powerful essential element of the state is sovereignty. Let us try to understand sovereignty. The fourth essential element is the sovereignty. It is a very powerful, and also without this, no state can exist. That means it is the life of the state. It is life of the state. Sovereignty is considered as life of the state. Without the state, without the sovereignty, no state is existed. We cannot imagine without the sovereignty. That means if the sovereignty is not existed of the state became dead body. It's a lifeless body. That's why the sovereignty is very essential for the state. Now, what it mean by sovereignty? Sovereignty means supreme power. Supreme power. Understood? The term sovereignty derived from the superanus. What is that? Superanus, which is the Latin word. The term sovereignty derived from the superanus Latin word, which means supreme power. What is the supreme power? Supreme power is apex power, highest power. That power enjoyed by one person or the group of the persons. Power is supreme. That is the final. There is no power above the sovereign power. So they controlled entire the country, entire the people. Here, Jean Bodin defines sovereignty is very clearly. The sovereignty power is the supreme power which enjoyed by one person on the citizens and the associations within the territory. Understood? Above the citizens and also associations, the supreme power enjoyed by state. Understood? Here the sovereignty is the supreme power which is enjoyed by the state alone. There are so many associations apart from the state. So whereas the state only enjoyed the sovereign power. The state alone enjoyed the sovereign power. That's why the state was differentiated among the other associations based on the sovereignty. Understood? The state was different because it only enjoyed the sovereignty power. Remaining associations are unable to enjoy the sovereignty power. The state enjoys the sovereign power to control the people and associations also within the territory. So that's why sovereignty is very essential for promoting unity and integrity in the state. Each and every state should require sovereignty. Before 1947, we have the people and also territory and also some governments are existed, but we don't have sovereignty. That's why we are not considered as a state. Understood? So when we got sovereign power, that constitutional sovereign power, then only we enjoyed the full form of state. That means we enjoyed the full powers of in the state. So here the sovereign power is supreme power. There are two aspects in the supreme power. One is internal, external. Internal, external. Internal aspect of sovereignty, external aspect of sovereignty. What is the internal aspect of sovereignty? What is the external aspect of sovereignty? According to the internal aspect of sovereignty, the supreme power enjoyed by the state within the territory only, within the territory, on the people, above the citizens and also associations, over the citizens and subjects, associations enjoyed the supreme power, that is internal aspect of sovereignty. Internally, within the geographical boundary, the state enjoyed the supreme power, controlling power. So that is internal aspect of sovereignty that was prescribed by Jean Bodin. Okay, and where is external aspect of sovereignty? Out of the geographical boundary, if the country became freedom, that means outside of the geographical boundary also the state enjoyed the freedom. That is, external aspect of sovereignty. For example, when we want to take any decision without any pressure, if India taking decision without the pressure of the America, China, Russia, India enjoyed external freedom. That is the external aspect of sovereignty. We have we have the free from abroad. We are free from abroad. That is external aspect of sovereignty. Clear? So this is the sovereignty which having two aspects such as internal and external. Here the sovereign power are in different forms. Nominal sovereign, real sovereign. The de jure sovereign, de facto sovereign. So you know very well, in India, the President of India is the nominal sovereign, whereas the Prime Minister is real sovereign. Understood? Like this, we try to cover the sovereignty chapter, all those things. Okay. So this is about the very important element of the state, which is very essential. Out of them, sovereignty is the very powerful and also very, very essential element. It's the life of the state, because without the supreme power, the state cannot do anything. If the state want to pass the order, that requires supreme power. That was the final power. Nobody can overridden. Nobody can overridden. Everybody should obey the power of the state. Of course, here the power of the sovereignty unable to enjoy the state. Original who enjoyed the power? Government enjoyed the sovereignty power on behalf of the state. We already observed the state is invisible thing. On behalf of the state, the government enjoyed all those power, even the sovereignty power. Whereas government does not have supreme power, sovereign power. It is the one body which delegated, state delegated sovereignty power to the government. On name of the state only, the government enjoyed sovereignty power. This is the important element of the state. So the four are essential elements of the state. In modern time, some of the political philosophers argued international recognition also considered as one of the element of the state in modern times. What is the international recognition? International recognition is the recognition by another state to one state. That means one state by another state. If for example India is one state, the India should recognize by other state or any other state. That is international recognition. If any new country formulated, originated, that should require recognition of other states. Or nothing but international organization like UNO. UNO recognition also considered as international recognition. If any country take membership in the UNO, that's automatically reflect the recognition of the international society. Automatically recognize the other states. That is why here for getting the benefits from abroad or other country, every country should require recognition by the other country. If they accepted for our existence, then only we are existed. Clear? That's why international recognition also considered as one of the element of the state. For this, modern political philosophers argued international recognition also very essential. International recognition means what? Recognition by other country or recognition by UNO. So that is also considered as international recognition. They are the essential elements of the state. What are the essential elements? People, territory, government, sovereignty. Okay. In this we covered 2 marks as well as 5 marks, 10 marks also. If they asked for 10 marks, how they asked? Define the state and mention the essential elements of the state. Explain the essential elements of the state. At the time you have to mention all those essential elements up to the international recognition. If they asked for 5 marks, you concentrated on any 2 of them. They clearly mentioned, explain any 2 essential elements of the state. At the time you have to concentrate any 2 of them. Okay, for 2 marks point of view, What is mean by sovereignty? And what is mean by government? What are the organs of government? Okay, so this type of questions we expected already. They are previous one also. Okay, so I thought it's very clear. Thank you.
ఆ చదువులమ్మ నేరుగా ప్రతి ఇంటి గడప చేరగా